Conor McGregor, seen that Bryce Mitchell was getting so much attention by going on his podcast and being a Holocaust denier and being an anti-Semite and throwing out homophobic slurs, that he couldn't stand to see all the attention that Bryce Mitchell was getting. So Conor McGregor, or should I say Cocaine Conor, as Jeremy Stevens said, decided, I am going to launch into a diatribe attacking Khabib Nurmagomedov's wife and kids. And on top of that, I am going to use multiple racial slurs in the post as well. We're going to break it all down this video. And honestly, I don't think Conor McGregor is ever returning to the UFC. We have a clip of Dana White as well asked about Conor McGregor recently, and it didn't seem that promising that Conor would be returning to the UFC. But we're going to break down the entire situation because it all started with Paul Hughes versus Usman Nurmagomedov at PFL, which we're going to take a look at the in-ring interaction. Then Conor decided to attack Paul Hughes, which was uncalled for, and obviously it was cocaine-fueled, drug-induced, alcoholic-induced, whatever you want to call it, but attacks him. Then you have Ariel Helwani running cover for Conor McGregor, which we're also going to take a look at slightly in this video, which I thought was absolutely disgusting, embarrassing, and a reason why people don't like Ariel Helwani in general. I happened to see it. I randomly happened to see it live, and I was like, you know what? I got to fit this into a video somewhere, so we're going to include it. He's talking to Paul Hughes, running cover for Conor McGregor. This was before the racist, anti-Khabib Nurmagomedov rant where he's literally talking about his family. We're going to break it all down this video. Let's jump right into it because I started to do this video last week and I'm glad I didn't because more came out. But what you have is Anatomy of a Fighter. I will link this video down in the description. He does like little documentaries on up and coming fights and stuff like that. He mainly does it on like the Dagestani guys. But this is a clip from a 40-minute video. And this was right after the Usman Nurmagomedov Paul Hughes fight. And this like 10 seconds I'm going to show you right here is kind of what launched that's kind of what started this entire issue with Conor McGregor and Paul Hughes that eventually led to Conor McGregor attacking Khabib, which obviously already hated Khabib. He's thinking about Khabib Nurmagomedov 24/7. But this is what started it all. Listen to this.
I'm not like this other guy, and I'm my own man. I'm not like this other guy. The media try to make us like not respect, but I always have respect.
That's it. That's literally it. That's what sent Conor off the deep end. I'm going to rewind it back a little bit right here because that's literally what sent Conor off the deep end. Is essentially him saying, I'm not like the other guy. I'll just play the very beginning of that clip again.
I'm not like this other guy, and I'm my own man. I'm not like this other guy.
I'm not like this other guy. I'm my own man. I'm not like this other guy. Which sent Conor, Conor's on coke, he's drunk, he's out cheating on his pregnant wife. Well, I don't know if she's pregnant now. He's out he is a civilly liable sexual assaulter now. He's probably out there, sexually assaulting up a storm at this point. But the whole buildup of Paul Hughes versus Usman Nurmagomedov was the whole reignition of the Ireland versus Dagestani narrative. It was all for promotional reasons. But Paul Hughes is just saying, look, I'm not like this other guy. I don't have hate in my heart. It was for promotion. It's not like they ever crossed the line. Nothing crazy happened. I'm not, the civilly liable rapist who constantly attacks you and I'm so upset. We had a good fight. Respect. I respect you. You respect me. And apparently that was too much for Conor. That 5 seconds of a clip was too much for Conor because Conor McGregor then launched into a Twitter tirade attacking Paul Hughes, okay? It started off with, too right, you're not. Hashtag bumhole liquor. This is a damn near 40-year-old man, Conor McGregor is. A damn near 40-year-old man. And that's not it. Believe me, there's so much more. I'm glad this, shout out to MMA Fighting who compiled all these tweets because that way I didn't have to try to find them all because Conor then deleted all the tweets because that's what he does as a 40-year-old man. He tweets, he lashes out on Twitter and then deletes his tweets like a literal puss. Thank you to MMA Fighting for compiling all these. He also said, Get that flag off, you little known what you are blank from up there. And I don't know the history behind it. I looked it up a little bit, but there's like a British occupation of Northern Ireland. So there's a very, distinct history of where Paul Hughes is from. So for Conor to say you shouldn't have that flag on your back is very offensive to certain people from that area in Ireland. We're going to hear what Paul Hughes has to say in a little bit, which I think Paul Hughes absolutely destroys Conor and has the perfect response. And then Paul Hughes said, always said you were the GOAT, paid homage at every opportunity, but coming at my Irish identity just shows where your head is at. That's from Paul Hughes. And then Conor goes on a crazy rant saying this. I'm not even going to read. I'm not trying to get this video demonetized. By the way, guys, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And then Sinead Kavanagh said, starstruck when he was cheering you on. Weasel and turncoat beneath it all. Can't trust no one these days. And Conor quotes that and said, it's deplorable, Sinead. No self-respecting Irishman would grovel in a manner to this person who has disrespected their flag time and time again. And that is a fact. Groveling weasel of the highest order. This dude is really that butthurt about him saying, look, I'm not like that other guy. I got respect, which they showed respect back. If you saw Khabib's speech after the fight, you would know they showed respect back. And then he, I guess he's trying to, there was a lot of people in Derry, where Paul Hughes is from, who were upset. So he says, Derry is Ireland. It's not true Irish behavior to grovel at the hands of someone who disrespected your nation's flag and is playing a game right in your faces as you bow and kiss feet. I am so embarrassed for him caught like that. Hughes born in Oz, raised in Derry, trains in Florida. I don't give a fuck. No self-respecting Irishman would bow down to a man who has disrespected his countrymen and women and their flag and time again. He got caught as a weasel. Horrid stuff to see. Yuck. What a clown. And this, let's be very clear. This all stems from the fact that Khabib Nurmagomedov took his soul. Khabib took him down, beat him up, and eventually took his chin because Conor didn't actually submit to a rear naked choke. It was a neck crank that Khabib finished him with. And Conor's still upset about that now damn near 7 years later and only won one fight since. And also, obviously, the drugs don't help. And there's a little bit more. This was a clip of Paul Hughes talking to Ariel, which we're going to get to here in a second. Try to twist it all you want. You were caught groveling and licking the boot to a man who has disrespected the flag and fighting countryman and woman of all of this land time and time again. Almost 10 years. No self-respecting Irishman would ever do that. You know what? No self-respecting Irishman would force himself onto a woman in a hotel room while he has a wife at home 9 months pregnant. That's what I would say. No self-respecting Irishman would have like 25 kids, but he spends all his time on the road and on a yacht doing coke and drinking 24/7. And every time he's caught on camera, he's literally intoxicated. That's what I would say. And then I think this is kind of the end of it. Bootlicker Hughes with like a meat. I mean, look how butthurt he is. Paul Hughes had a good performance and Conor's trying to steal. Conor doesn't like that he's getting any limelight from that performance. Then I love you, Dagestan. I'm not the other bad Irish guy. And it's Paul Hughes licking a boot. And then lastly, he's kissing Khabib's ass. He's a rat fact because he said he had respect. Keep in mind, Khabib showed him respect as well. And then Khabib posted this on his Instagram story. It was a quote of ESPN saying, I'm not like the other guy. I'm my own man. And then this is what Khabib responded. You are a real Irishman, Paul Hughes, not like a rapist and drug addict like this bastard. Talking about Conor McGregor. Khabib rarely hitting back at Conor McGregor, who does nothing but talk about him. Does absolutely nothing but talk about him. Now, we do have Paul Hughes doing an interview with Ariel Helwani. And this interview really rubbed me the wrong way. Because what you're going to see from Ariel, not in this clip, but in the second clip I'm going to show you. I'm only showing you 2 clips from this interview. It's not that important. Ariel really was just being so annoying, man, because he's a Conor McGregor bootlicker. But Paul Hughes, I think, had the perfect response. He was asked about Conor's kind of Twitter lashing out, and what was Paul Hughes' response? Other than the tweet, which I already showed you, which was this. Oh, well, he said, thank you, Team Khabib. I have great respect for you and your team and your nation. I would be honored to take you up on this offer someday and return the favor in Ireland. But please, only after I get the rematch. And then this was a tweet I already showed you. Always said you were the GOAT, paid homage at every opportunity, but coming at my Irish identity just shows where your head's at. So he was asked about Conor's tweet storm, and this was Paul Hughes' response, which I think is the perfect response. And even though it's not that harsh, it's just a humiliation for Conor McGregor. It just shows where Conor is at this point in time, looking for relevancy and looking for attention when really his opinion holds no weight in the MMA community. He is a laughing stock of the MMA community, but no one has the heart to say anything to him because he's on a bender basically 24/7.
It's actually not like I wasn't offended at all. And, now a lot of people in Ireland, especially in the north of Ireland, will be like, couldn't be any more deeply offended as the thing he said. But I'm not actually offended or didn't take it personally at all because it sounds bad, but it just seems like it's another day in his life of being just tweeting madness. It's not like I seen that and went, oh, I can't believe he said this about me. I think
like imagine caring what Conor McGregor says. I know we're all talking about it and that's what he wants really. But at the end of the day, what's Paul Hughes thinking? What do I care about him? The guy's an embarrassment to his entire country. I've never heard one person ever say, hey, man, I'm from Ireland. We all love Conor here. None of them like him. None of them like him. We'll listen to a little bit more of the response.
I think it's just another day in the life for him. And I just don't hold weight to his opinion anymore as to these sorts of things. And it's kind of a sad thing to say that, but that's actually just the reality of how I felt. In fact, I kind of just laughed at it when I seen it. It's not something I've been thinking about all day and going, oh, this and my identity and this and that. It's like, yeah, initially I was like, don't come with my identity. Like, that's ridiculous. But then I was just like, this guy, he's on one, like, and I just don't care.
Yeah, exactly. There's no sense in caring. All this over saying, I'm not like the other guy. I'm not angry. I'm not tight. I'm not going to be so upset and angry over this loss for the next 7 years that I'm never going to get over it. I'm not going to launch into a racist diatribe on Twitter and then delete it because I don't like you. Good response from Paul Hughes. But I want to highlight this clip from Ariel. This is exactly why people don't like Ariel. When I heard this, I happened to open YouTube. And I seen that the MMA, or that's not the MMA Hour anymore. I seen Ariel was live, and I clicked on it, and I seen it was the Paul Hughes interview, and I heard him talking about this, and just by chance, and this is one of the first things I heard. Like it was right around this mark here. I could not believe Ariel was trying to blame the guy that was filming because he carries water for Conor McGregor. Ariel, when Conor McGregor was found civilly liable by a court in Ireland of 12 of Conor's peers of a sexual assault, all Ariel did was pass it off to his co-host or read like blank-faced statements with no opinion. And now he's upset because Conor and Paul Hughes are beefing now. And you know who he blames? He blames the cameraman. Listen to this.
I appreciate that. One last thing on this topic. Did you know you were being filmed in that moment? In the cage, I saw this YouTube clip come out from Anatomy of a Fighter, and I guess they're working with PFL. I know they're very close to that team, and I'm not insinuating that there was any sort of foul play, but I know this is a private moment that you're sharing, and it's a very, it's a sensitive one, right? Did you know that this was being filmed and that this would come out?
I didn't know it was being filmed, and I didn't know it was coming out. And
so he didn't know it was being filmed. He didn't know it was coming out. Didn't know it was being filmed. And also Ariel just stirring this up is just craziness. We'll go back to the clip real quick. I mean, didn't know he was there's 8 different cameras on him at one point in time. I mean, look, this is where they're at. They're literally on TV. It's live on Max, okay? I'm clicking around where the clip was. I mean, hold on, let me go back. Let me see if I can find that. Didn't know. Hold on. Let me actually bring this in a little bit. Let me bring in this image a little bit. Look, there's Anatomy of a Fighter right here. Can you look off to the left over here, right next to this guy's face. You see the camera off to the left there? It's for some reason not showing my mouse on screen. But yeah, they didn't know they were being filmed, boys. I can't believe this is a perfect. I mean, there was 26 cameras around. To act like this is some personal moment in a hotel room somewhere and that it should have never got out and that Paul Hughes did anything wrong to begin with, it's just utterly ludicrous. I don't know why Ariel would say such a thing. That's exactly why people don't like Ariel. Ariel's acting like some traumatic, man, did you know you were being filmed? Yeah, maybe there was 27 cameras around. And I get it. Paul Hughes didn't know it was going to be used in a documentary necessarily. And maybe if you didn't, the camera angle wasn't specifically on that moment because they're switching around in the production truck. But to act like this was some invasion of privacy and, oh man, my poor Conor got exposed to a private moment, and now his ego's hurt, is insane. Well, this all led to Conor McGregor lashing out even more at Khabib Nurmagomedov. And this is a tweet that I put out, but I have the screenshots here so you can kind of see it all in one screenshot. But 15 minutes I done Aldo, 15 seconds. Show your wife blank, N-word. Show your kids, N-word. Cousin effing mother effer, hidden MFer. Show us you and your cousin's kids together because we have kids here in Ireland that want to smoke them in competition. Are they competing or what are they saying? Ireland versus Dagestan. Where's your offspring? And we can't wait to see them. The best of Dagestan offspring, ? Dagestan, what do you think? Is this true? Who's next? Because Fatso with the coach whistle won't fight. Who the F designated this fat bitch as master father? Certainly not his own father, Abdulmanap. And they all know it is in Dagestan. Dagestan think you are blank for retiring. Real Dagestan is forever. You laughed at behind your back in Dagestan like he would know. Lazy you are. They say, fight me and make $100 million and you give it to your entire village of Dagestan. But you, I think it says, I'll click on it real quick. You can't see it on screen, but you won't. Why? Fat, lazy, scared. B, lazy fatso. And then he also attached a screenshot of a tweet that he sent a while ago, which let me see if I can make this bigger. Yes, I can. This was something Conor tweeted out many, many moons ago. And it was Khabib at his wedding, apparently, and said, your wife is a towelmate. So let me get this straight. Conor is attacking his kids and wife in a racially slurred filled rant, saying the N-word multiple times while he's coked out on Twitter and then deleting it, and also reposting an offensive tweet about Khabib Nurmagomedov's wife. I can't dissect this cocaine Conor rant here, but I'll just say this. I mean, what a total and complete piece of shit Conor McGregor is. He's an embarrassment to his country. He's an embarrassment to the UFC. He continues to humiliate himself on social media over and over and over again. And I truly believe what is the most embarrassing thing about all this is you have the fact that I honestly think Conor saw Bryce, all the attention Bryce was getting for being a Holocaust denier. And he's like, man, Bryce is getting all this attention. What can I do? What can I do? I don't even know what that, like, if anyone can make sense of, I mean, basically he's saying he wants to fight Khabib, but you know what Khabib would do to him? Do you know what Khabib would do to Conor in a potential rematch? I mean, it wouldn't even, I mean, I know they both haven't fought in forever, but we saw where Khabib was when he left and he didn't suffer a serious injury and he's not been doing drugs 24/7. Khabib would own him, okay? It would not even be competitive. It's something that nobody wants to see. I mean, I guess some people want to see just for the chaos of the whole thing. I don't even think Conor wants it, okay? Conor's too busy out cheating on his wife. And he has the audacity to tweet something like this out. The disrespect, the fact that he is so emotionally disturbed by the fact that he got brutalized in a fight in 2018 and it's still with him to this day. He's damn near 40 years old. And then I guess his publicist and I guess damage control, whoever Conor hires for damage control, he immediately goes and scurries off and deletes it. Who's the real like coward here? Like if you're going to tweet this type of stuff, you know, about Paul Hughes and about Khabib, at least leave it up. Don't tweet it and delete it. You know, leave it up if you're not such a coward. I mean, there's not many more pejoratives I can use to describe Conor, but he's just a piece of shit, man. And the fact that he's got to throw the N-word in there, I get it. You know, he's not aiming it at, you know, a black person, but still to throw it in there is disgusting. He's a piece of shit for it. And he doesn't even belong to be in the UFC, even though I know technically he's not. I think he's waiting out for his sunset clause, which we don't know exactly when it is. But at a press conference, for the Power Slap press conference, Dana came out with a statement where he said, you know, he talked about Nazi Germany and he said, you know, he read off stats for Nazi Germany like he was reading off a gate record. And he said, Bryce is dumb. Bryce is an idiot. He condemned Bryce. Well, at the UFC Saudi presser, I was waiting for someone to ask about Conor McGregor, and luckily somebody did. But they didn't ask about the racial slur-filled rant from Conor McGregor on Twitter about Khabib. They just asked, when do you think Conor McGregor is going to return? And even though this is a very short clip, it's very telling about where Dana White and Conor McGregor's relationship is right now. Listen to this. By the way, shout out to the Power Slap Cup.
Nice guy.
Any news about Conor? Is he coming back soon?
Conor?
Yeah.
I'm not sure when Conor will be back.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It is February 3rd of 2025. And that imagine Chandler was still waiting. I mean, he kind of still is. Chandler is still waiting. Imagine he was, and this is the response from Dana, in February of 2025.
Nice guy.
Any news about Conor? Is he coming back soon?
Conor?
Yeah.
I'm not sure when Conor will be back.
Okay, thank you.
Not sure when Conor will be back. You know what's crazy? I wonder if Conor lobbied one of these rants at Michael Chandler and maybe talked about his family using some of these racial slurs, if Chandler would have finally grown a set and stood up to Conor and actually shit on Conor. I don't know that he would, but maybe he finally would. But if this clip right here doesn't, I mean, I know Chandler technically has already moved on, but he's still talking about, he recently was in a Tim Welch interview where he was talking about, I think Conor has to, stop getting out of trouble. He's got to get out of trouble and get in a training camp and fight me, brother. See you at the top, brother. But the fact that Dana White is asked about Conor, he says, I don't know what's going on with Conor. In February of 2025, keep in mind, and I don't have this clip ready for you because I've showed it a million times at this point, really twice, I think. Last year, Dana did a very unseen interview that was like with some random newscast, and he was asked about Conor, and he said, I never believed Conor was going to even fight in 2024. He then said in another interview, a couple months ago, that he sees Conor fighting in early 2025, first quarter of 2025. I think he said early 2025. Now it's February, and I don't know what we have planned for Conor. I really don't know if Conor ever fights in the UFC again. I think there's a chance he gets one more fight, but really, he's nothing more than an embarrassment to the organization. The way he's attacking Paul Hughes, the way he's attacking Khabib, the specific words he's using towards Khabib, and the fact that he's so butthurt 7 years later that Khabib beat him up badly and he's still dealing with psychological effects of that, and the fact that he's constantly on coke, he's constantly drugged out, he's constantly drunk. I don't really know if the UFC should count on him. Imagine counting on him to main event an event. I wouldn't count on him to pick me up from the airport, let alone headlining a massive UFC pay-per-view. So we'll see how this all plays out. But Conor embarrassed himself yet again. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for watching.